It's all about this, the Tech Hub Island Summit for 2025, where it's all about engagement, execution, and evolution. You are the Tech Summit in
Yes.
Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes. Happy to
Tell
hear.
me about your affiliation with Amcham.
So, I got a call from Vitra, and let me tell you something. That lady is a fireball of energy.
Of course she is.
And when Vitra makes a request to come and share what we're doing in Jamaica, one has to just say yes. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm here. And the discussions around government and bureaucracy, and how bureaucracy can become a breakthrough, and how can we change things to digital speed. I'm here to just share some of those ideas and experiments we've done in Jamaica, things that have worked, things that have not worked. So happy to share those.
As a frequent traveler to the island of Jamaica, I myself would have embraced and be very happy with some of the technologies I see, even when I land at Norman Manley International Airport, what I saw when I was departing out there in Mobi. And I must say, that technology exists, that AI technology exists, limited human interaction and more interface with these data-driven systems that you all have. But if you were to make a recommendation for CARICOM to become united with AI technology, what would that sound like?
Well, let me just make a quick comment on that technology that you experienced. My organization, NIRA, and the NIDS project, National Identification System project, are key partners of that experience. And so what has happened is that, so just think about this. You have a passport.
Yes.
That passport was received from your country's organization responsible for that. So they have all that data.
All that data is there.
It's already there. So let's use it. Let's use it in a different way. Let's use it in a way that your experience coming through that gate can be a lot better, right? So instead of you having to now fill out these forms, hey, and I'm not knocking Trinidad, and I'm not knocking Caribbean Airlines because I had a big paper form to fill out, right, when I was coming. We now digitize that in Jamaica. So as you're arriving, you go online, you enter that information. So as you get there, guess what? The data is already in the system. You just walk straight. People can't believe how quick it is to get out of the airport now. So that's one experience in using national identification, the data that's already in the passport, to allow you to have that experience very quickly. So that is dovetailed and connected to the answer to the question. Let's look to see what's working elsewhere and see, lessons learned from those countries. Yes, we do understand that different countries have different regulatory requirements and things like that, but let's look and see what's working. And then bring the teams if possible, because sometimes these folks are busy, but bring the teams if possible to come and share the experiences, and perhaps even share the technologies that they use to get some of these experiences.
Mr. Reckord, one of the things we learned over the last 24 hours and into this morning at this summit is that persons are reluctant to embrace AI technology. What would you say to persons who are reluctant and are holding themselves back from going forward with tech?
So as we've heard in a number of the presentations, and let me just throw in a little anecdote that I use all the time. A machete can be used for terrible harm.
Yes.
But a machete can also be used to produce some of the most delicious foods.
Indeed so.
Right?
Indeed
It's
so.
the same exact situation with AI.
I love that.
Right? Same situation. I encourage everyone, my own children, my wife, I encourage everyone, let's learn about this. At least start with learning, starting to understand what exists, the power, the capabilities. In a recent presentation at the PSOJ in Jamaica, Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, I had deep discussions about the exact same topic, pros and cons, and there was a question that said, if you were to just rename this in one word, that said, AI, augmented intelligence. Let us now consider this thing as something that's supporting me in what I'm doing. Again, remember the machete example. I can use it for good, I can use it for evil. Let us now figure out how we can use this thing for the betterment of everything that we're involved in, for your job, for preparing questions for interviews, for preparing yourself to approach a topic that you had no idea about. How could I learn it faster? Now, a recent MIT paper is out. I'd suggest people take a look at it. But there's a concern saying people using AI don't retain the information, because you research, you get a question, you get an answer, you stand on the stage, you sound intelligent, and then all of a sudden, you're done. If I ask you 10 minutes later, you're like, you don't really remember it, because it was just for the moment. So, again, pros and cons, my encouragement, learn. One of the big tech billionaires recently Mark Cuban spoke about in a TEDx interview recently. He said, look, if I were to start over and do this again, I would spend every single waking moment studying AI. And even when I'm sleeping, I'll be listening to podcasts. So I tell people, follow his advice, learn and learn and learn.
You know, one of the things that you mentioned there about 10 minutes later, you asked me a question. You know, the funny thing with AI and artificial intelligence when it comes to, like, for one software, ChatGPT,
Yes.
it's what you feed it,
Yes.
is what it will belch out at you.
Correct.
But the thing about it is, when we take the time to edit what the AI is giving us, we are going through it with a fine-tooth comb and we are editing. It helps us to retain information. So,
Exactly.
I mean, we take the lazy approach.
Correct.
You put it in, and like Mr. Reckord, like you just said, you know, we got out there, we just spewed up, we sound intelligent. And then 5 minutes later, we come and answer your question and you lost, you're in a state of bewilderment.
Correct.
So I want to just echo on those words and say, listen, look at what is being meted back to you, what is the output you're receiving, and edit and tailor to suit your style.
Prompt engineering, that's what you're explaining. Learn how to prompt properly.
I love that, prompt engineering.
Yes.
You see, that's why we have Mr. Reckord from Jamaica here, you know, now see why they invite you in.
No respect.
You find nice ways to bring across the information.
I was a teacher 40 years ago.
Really?
So the foundation of learning, teaching psychology is there. And then being 40 years in IT after that, I enjoy teaching.
You know, I want to ask you one last question.
Yes.
This is on a personal level. How did you embrace technology with your kids? Because these days, my 13-year-old son is fast speed, you know.
Yes.
He is at the speed that I can't even play catch up with. How were you able to
There's
do
a book that I wish I'd read, or the book was even written then, by a gentleman by the name of Jonathan Haidt called The Anxious Generation. Read that book. How old are your children?
13, 14.
They're at the borderline. You're at the borderline. I have 2 daughters. They're at the borderline stage right now. I was careful because I'm a tech person. I tried my best to encourage outdoor play. Did they do it a little bit? Right now they're 18 and 20. Their eyeballs are stuck to the technology. But I do my very best to inform and educate them. I will stop everyone. I'll tell everybody, at the dining table, no devices here. I try. It doesn't always work. No devices here today. Let's have a discussion and we'll talk about some topical matters. I try my very best for all, for my cousins and folks younger. I say, guys, disconnect from the digital for right now. Let them play. Play-based, play-based bring up learning versus digital-based.
Well said, Mr. Reckord. And my final question to you is advice to our CARICOM leaders. You know, let's talk a little bit about that, because we talk about integration of CARICOM all the time. Yet still, it's not that easy for us to just travel from one island to the next. But when we come to AI technology, we see a lot of these leaders seem to be in a state of bewilderment. What would your advice be? How would you assist or recommend that Amcham helps with getting this AI knowledge across the CARICOM diaspora?
Well, exactly what's happening here this week is about getting the thought leaders in the same room and having a discussion. So the very, very, very important thing I tell people, surround yourself with people that you trust, but they do understand the tech, right? Because we have to bridge the tech with the actual citizens' requirements and citizens' needs to ensure that there's a win-win for everyone. At my presentation a little bit after this, I'll share, top 7 reasons why digital transformation projects fail. And one of it is not listening to the stakeholders. So we need to surround ourselves with some of the right stakeholders and have that open and honest discussion.
I want to thank you very much, Mr. Chris Reckord, the Deputy Chairman of the National Identification and Registration Authority out there in Jamaica. Thank you very much, and we look forward to your presentation.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, take care.